Patients not listening to your instructions is probably one of the more annoying parts of the job of a healthcare provider. So, anything that you can do to increase compliance to treatment is a benefit to patients and to your practice. My guest today owns and runs a practice where compliance is especially needed when it is not, but it's especially so in this case. And he's going to share some ideas with us. I'm Carl White, principal at Mark Advisory Group, which is a healthcare marketing agency, and I'm also the host of Practice Care. The mission for both is the same, and that's to help private practice owners stay private. I've said it a million times, not only is that usually what they want, but care is better when the provider owns the practice because that's when they're going to have the most freedom to make the clinical decisions they think are best for you. And that's when it's best. It's just not always the same when somebody else owns the practice, whether it's a hospital, a health system, owners in faraway lands, whoever they may be. Eventually their agenda is going to start to creep in, and that's just more for the provider to think about. Today, my guest is Sylvain Mancuso. As the owner of the Mancuso Clinic in New Brunswick in Canada, Sylvain Mancuso has blended his expertise in physiotherapy and osteopathy to pioneer a hybrid care model. Over the last 12 years, he's dedicated himself to evolving their services to include both in-person and online treatments, ensuring accessible, comprehensive care. This unique approach allows them to meet the diverse needs of their community, providing personalized, effective health solutions. And you can see where compliance is already an issue. But Sylvain, for now, thank you for coming on Practice Care.
Thanks, God, to invite me for this podcast, and I'm really excited to be part of this podcast.
Yes, and an important topic that is, I imagine, universal. Everybody could see compliance and lack of compliance somewhere in there. So I'm excited to get to this one. First, however, let's start where I start with every guest, which is I just read a short bio because that's what I asked for. Can you fill in the gaps? Help us get to know you a bit better.
Um, yeah, I begin, as you say, I begin as a physiotherapist, and I switched to osteopathy. And I did that because I had some challenge to only work on the symptom and more looking at the root cause of the problem. And it's why I switched from physio to osteo. And this switch from the root cause and try to understand the patient from the head to the toe pushed me after to really be more involved in mindset and nutrition and many more information to help patients to feel better, to have a better a global approach about health, just not a symptom work things, but really find the root cause and work on the holistic approach with patients.
Okay. And just for a little bit more background, tell us where you're from. We all hear your accent, so just
Yeah, I come from France, born in the east of Paris.
Okay.
Did my physiotherapy study in Paris and moved in La Rochelle, is on the west coast of France, front of the Atlantic Ocean. And I did my osteopathy study in France too. And moved in Canada 12 years ago now.
Okay. Excellent. So let's get into it. Let's just start with the basic question. How does poor compliance to the treatment you prescribe affect your patients?
I think it has two effects. One is on the patient health, because there is no magic wand and you can change everything in only one session. You often need to see the patient more often and try to work with him. And on his patient side, when he doesn't see any result or the results are really slow, not complying with what we said or what we give after the session, I think is really hard on him because he doesn't have the result he wants. And on the other side, the patient who is not complying to what you said is going to reduce the efficiency of your treatment. Because what you do during the session is really important, but I always say what's happening after the session is even more important. In our approach, we only see patients, for example, for the osteopath, they only see patient every 2 weeks. What's happening between these 2 weeks gap is huge. What you are going to eat, how you are going to sleep, what you are going to drink, what you are going to think, what you are going to do is going to change so many things in the recovery process. But when a patient is coming to see you, you try your best, you do your assessment, you do your techniques, and the patient is leaving. And for 2 weeks, is in out of the blue. You
Yeah,
don't
right.
have any news or a little bit, but with our system, we are really on it. We know we have text message and we have follow-up, and we really try to stay in contact with the patient for the 2 weeks gap.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard on the ego of the therapist, because every therapist wants to have results, if we want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't have results, it can be hard on therapists. And I think this non-compliance is hard on the patient, but on the therapist too. And if we look at the business side, it's hard on the business, because your best marketer is your patient.
Yeah.
If the patient is happy about what you do and the result is going to spread the word, you don't need to do Facebook ads, you don't need to do Google ads or this type of things, because people are so happy to go to see you.
Yeah.
They feel, hey, if you have any pain, go there. They are incredible. They follow up, they take care of me, blah, blah, blah. And from that, you are going to grow your business. And I think the non-compliance it's a big, big problem, just not on the patient side, but on the therapy side and the business side too.
Yeah, and I gotta believe, like in your world, in the part of healthcare where you are in, you need the patients to do much more than, say, take a pill every day, right? And plus, all you have to do is swallow the pill. What's proper form? Swallow the pill, right? You have a lot more going on. Like, you could send your patient home with some exercises, and you needed them to do them properly. What if they do them improperly? They're not getting the benefit. And then, there's just a lot more going on. I, for years, had epically bad posture, and one day it just showed itself as massive pain in my shoulder. And then now it's fixed, but I'm constantly like, moving around and trying to make sure, because now I'm aware of it, but it took time. And you need the patient to play a role more so than, and so that's got to be a big deal. So how have you, in your practice, improved compliance to treatment? You said a little bit about it. You hinted at a couple of things, but since this is such a bigger deal for you than maybe some other parts.
As I said, I'm a big believer in a holistic approach. The physical health is often related with the mindset and how you sleep, what you drink, what you eat. What you eat can change the inflammation level. And at the beginning, when I begin to practice on my own, I was just giving some PDF, some writing things, and people can follow. After, there is a lot of software like Physia, I don't know if I have the right to say the name, but Physia or this type of things, where you can give exercise. And these apps are really good about showing the exercise, and it's a good way to help the patient. And I begin to use this type of app to help my patient on the physical side. But my challenge was, as I said, it's holistic approach. How they sleep, how they eat, how is the working station, because many people sit down for days, and hours every day. And the posture, as you said, can be challenging, and how you can set up your posture. And slowly, I begin to add more PDF and more power, many, many information, but it's often hard to digest. Because
the easy concept was coming into my mind, is you can flood them with information, but if it can't be easy enough, right?
Right. And each time they have a bunch of PDF when they leave, I can give them like almost a book, and I say, okay, we need to switch to something else. And I decided to implement online program to support our patient when they leave the clinic. Because studies show that what you say during the session, people just keep 30% of what you say.
But we're saying yes the whole time. Oh yeah. But 7/10 of it's gone. Exactly.
And you look at your phone and it's done. You forgot almost everything.
So what the doctors say,
You're right.
I don't know.
And with this online platform that we implement with our clients, they have access to all the program all the time. They can read about sleeping, they can read about nutrition, they can read about stress management, because stress is part of the issue too. Back pain can come from too much stress, but if you take care of the back, but you don't take care of the stress, doesn't help, and slowly we implement the online platform that people can have access when they come to see us. they can have access to all the program. At the same time, we are really strong on the follow-up. We send text, we send email to be sure that everything is fine, and often people are going to text us back, say, hey, I'm feeling good, or I have some discomfort. How can I improve that? Mm-hmm. Say, no problem. We send the information to the therapist who see the patient, and the patient send the answer. And it's really good for the patient because he doesn't feel alone. Mm-hmm. He still have access to the therapist when he left, and for me, this way to help patients to follow up with them and be with them, it's a huge difference. And at the same time on the platform, we do some specific webinar. We bring some guests about walking station or about stress management or other therapies, because at the same time using the platform, it's a good way for us to connect with other business around, that it's increasing our network. Yeah. And that's a good way to teach to patients, help them to feel better when they are not with us, and be always accessible. And this online platform make a huge difference for us.
So if I had to boil it down, it sounds like what you've built is a way to be with your patients even when they're not in your office. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly that.
Do you, I mean, just naturally, some people are better at this than others. Some patients are more compliant than others. They're more in it. Like, if two patients walked into your practice today and one of them, you could say, they're going to get it, they're going to do it. And the other one, boy, they're going to resist. They just seem, I don't know. They don't seem, do you handle them differently? Do you send them different information, or do you
always,
because you still need them to look it up, right? You could sit on their sofa with them in their home. You got to do this. Make sure you write this down, and they still won't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we try to really tailor-made the program for each patient that is going to be really relevant for them. With the platform we use, we can choose, okay, we are going to send stress management and sleep and nutrition. But the other one is not too much stress, is really relaxed. Okay, let's work on meditation because, just try to help and give them the relevant information, make a huge difference. Because if you give one fit for all, doesn't work. Right. And more in else, right. And really do the right program for them. They will say, okay, that's for me. It's not an everyone solution for everyone, And I think that's helped people to be more compliant about that.
So if you had to compare, go ahead.
No, tell me.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you had to compare the before, so there was a moment where you implemented this new system, and yes, it took some time because you were building it, etc., but there was a before it and then an after it. How would you compare compliance to treatment before you did this to after, now that you've been implementing it, just roughly?
Just under the Google review make a huge difference, because people are more happy. We have more people coming in the clinic. And we have better results. I can compare with other clinics. The number of sessions we do, which is patient, is lower than others, because what we give after, it makes a huge difference. On the business side, it's maybe not the best because we see the patient less, Yeah. But on the growing side and the ability to reach more people, because these people are going to come for 7 to 8, 10 sessions maybe with us, between osteo, chiro, and massage therapist. But this patient is going, one, to spread the word, and the next time they have an issue, they come to see us. They don't go anywhere else. They come to see us. Yeah. And it's a long run, it's a game on the long run, and it's improving the patient result, and it's reducing the stress on the therapist too, because he has like a support system on him, with him, then everything is not depending on him. And that's make a huge difference on the stress level of the therapist, because they know they have this online support. And our clinic is a little bit different. We do free evaluation at the beginning, and we do a complete approach, a team approach at the beginning of the treatment. We do chiro, massage, physio, osteo, depending what they need. but we have a team approach, then is going to reduce the level of stress on the therapist because he has already all the teammates with him ready to help him. And at the same time, he knows that the online program is there to help the patient to feel better.
Got it. Got it. So one of the things down here in the States is, health insurance drives a lot of, rightly or wrongly, treatment, length of treatment, sometimes types of treatment. And as you're saying this, I'm listening in my mind to practitioners who are asking, how much time does it take to, so I see Carl comes in and he goes through the evaluation, and I determine that Carl needs treatment X or treatment program protocol X. And I'm going to see him once a week or once every other week. And in between, I want to send him, this information so that he can continue in between. We're going to be texting back and forth, perhaps. The in-between treatment, how much time does that take, would you say? Your
The
therapists?
therapist?
Yeah. Or whoever I imagine it's the therapist deciding what information to send to me, texting with me, communicating with me. Because insurance, here's what I say, insurance doesn't cover that.
No, but we have the front desk system who's taking care of that. And often many people as normal question, and we have a bunch, we have a lexic where we have all the information. When people ask this, you can answer this, and when it's more a specific question, it's going to the therapist. But it doesn't take too much time on the therapist side.
Okay.
And because my idea is we need to keep our team in their genius zone. And the genius zone of a therapist is therapy.
Yeah.
And the follow-up is more on the back of our front desk work.
Okay.
We have an online system, our front desk is a remote system. Then they take care of it. And let's be honest, I like taking care of it too. I like when patient is coming back to us and say, I have a question, and I say, okay, let's take care of that. And I like doing that because I like being in contact with patients in person or online. It's really nice stuff.
So roughly for every 10 questions that come in from patients, about how many would you say the front desk is able to handle versus has to get kicked back to the therapist?
80%.
80%. Okay.
Because it's often general knowledge. Do I need to put heat or ice? Or I have some pain. I have some pain in the back after the session. Yes, it's a normal reaction. Keep us in touch in 48 hours if it's not better. And if it's not better, we will try to schedule you another visit, Then it's things then the therapist doesn't need to be involved. But if the patient is saying he has red flag, yes, we are going to involve the therapist who did the session.
So that's a very nuts and bolts question. So then let's go back to me. So now I'm going home and you've said, contact us. So then you send me to one place to contact you, right? You don't give me necessarily the therapist's contact information. It's the main practice number or the main email.
You can text us on the main number of the practice, and they can have access to us there. They can call. But often people like texting.
Yes.
It's easy,
But it's where you allow them to go. It's the main number. It's not, Sylvain's personal cell or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
As far as confidentiality things, we try to avoid to stay really private,
Right.
And the therapist has their own life. Right. I don't want to see them receiving texts from patients. We could have some.
So if you had to compare compliance to treatment before you instituted this system to now, how much has it increased? It has to have increased.
Yeah, a lot, because I think at the beginning, it was hard to follow the compliance because we can't really know if the patient read the PDF.
It's true.
Right. But with the platform we use, we can see if the patient.
Oh, you can track their activity? I meant to ask you that.
Yeah. Then we can see, okay, he did the program and he did few things, and we can see the compliance. And not everyone we give some information. Sometimes they don't look at it. I think it's like everything. You have a bunch of books in your library that you didn't read. I
Yeah.
think it's the same
Yeah.
issue for patients. But we have a good level of people doing that. And
Mhm.
at the same time, it's, because you take care of the patient in another way, it's helping them.
Mhm.
And sometimes they are not looking too much at what you said, but they know it's there if they need.
Yeah.
And it's make a difference for them too.
Yeah. So if I come back for session 2 or 3 and I say, man, it still hurts and I don't seem to be getting any better, have you checked on my activity? So you could say, well, Carl, you didn't even go into the
Yeah, yeah,
portal. You
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
go in once to the portal to look. I mean,
Yeah,
what are we
the
supposed to
therapist
do?
that yeah, the therapist have access to the activity of the patient.
Yeah.
Then he say, okay, you know what, you didn't look at the diet,
Yeah. You're a
you
terrible
still are you
student.
still eating? Yeah.
Yeah.
And often, but the fact that people know that we can know
Yeah.
push them, say, okay, I need to do my part.
That's
Because if I
great.
complain I didn't do my job, the
Yeah.
guy say, you know what, I did everything I can,
Yeah.
but you can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good way to push people to be sure then they do their
It's
stuff
it's
too.
it's like a classroom with oversight, no matter
Yeah,
how adult somebody is, you still have
yeah,
to, I'm
yeah,
watching you.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's great. That's great. This is really interesting. I'm curious, how long did it take you about to implement this system? And I wonder like what you're still working on to make it better.
It took me, I think the beginning was the COVID,
Mm,
because I was for a long time by myself and I begin to grow the practice
mhm.
after COVID. I don't think it was maybe the best idea, but it was
Well, we all
challenging
had more
health.
time on
But
our hands all of a sudden. So yeah.
yeah, right. Yeah, right. I need to keep my brain busy.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of miss and try. I miss this one, doesn't work.
Mhm,
Miss, try this one, miss.
mhm.
Try and miss. Sorry, my French is kicking back.
Yes, I got it.
And since 6 months, we really have a platform who is really efficient as we want.
Mhm,
At the beginning, we had a bunch of different platforms, for the texting, for the program, for
mm,
so many things that now we have our CRM platform for the medical things.
mm.
And on the follow-up side, we have another platform. We have only two platforms.
Okay.
My main goal will be to have one CRM with everything included, with the email, with the text, with, really have
That would be
something
nice because then
full.
you've got the full patient view in one place, right?
Yeah,
Everything.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can have access to their program and all that.
Mhm.
But I think the only solution will be to develop my own CRM.
Oh,
But yeah,
I'll see
exactly
you in
that,
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, right. 5 or 10 years, can be
Yeah.
really a big challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we have a good platform. I think we still, I can, yesterday I work until 1 in the morning because I
Hmm.
wanted to figure out something to say, okay, we need to automate that. I don't want to see my team spending too much time on this, how
Hmm.
we can do that.
Hmm.
And I spend 1 hour on the phone with until 1 a.m. on the phone with the tech company, to try to find a way.
Hmm.
And at the end, I went to bed and said, fuck, yes, I did it. But it's always, you say, okay, let's try that. Okay, I think we can improve the things, and
Hmm.
try to develop that slowly. But
Right.
it's yeah, it took me. I'm still not happy about the platform. I still need to work on it.
Hmm.
But I think it's for me, it's 70% completed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great. 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 It's really interesting. I mean, I could easily line up 10 healthcare providers who have nothing to do with each other and say, would you like your patient? Are you happy with your patient compliance rate? Especially when they're not there. And the answer is going to be no. Um, and you've shown it's possible to improve it and that it's, shockingly not so easy to do necessarily. It's not a quick fix. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. So there's really
yeah,
something
right.
there. And I could ask you a lot more questions about it, but there's a couple of wrap-up questions I ask every guest. The first one is there anything you think I should have asked you about this topic, but I just didn't think to ask you?
Um, no, I think we we did
Okay. I actually thought of one,
a
guys.
complete approach.
I actually
Okay.
did think of one. If you were to start all over again, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently? Or any, you look and boy, we spent 6 months on that. And now I know. Is there any, just if we've caught the listener's attention on how do I get started, which is the next question, but any landmines you can help the rest of us avoid?
Move faster.
Yeah.
When something is not working, try to find something else.
Yeah.
Not trying to bootstrap or, try to adapt or things like that. Sometimes you I spend too
Just
much
call
time
it a
on,
failure and move on.
yeah, right. I tried another platform. I spent almost a year on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to bootstrap and, to do some connection and integration, but was not the right fit. And it's okay. And when I decided to move was the good move, but it took me time
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, that's not working. I
Yeah.
need to switch to something else.
Yeah.
And I think move faster and be able to look more where in other industry, what others do.
Mm,
And I think be more outside to say, okay, how they do that,
yeah.
in cleaning company or I don't know, any service company, because at the end, a clinic is a service company, and how
Mm-hmm.
they can improve this or this or this.
Yeah.
And that's maybe my biggest things is how move faster,
Mm-hmm.
don't stay stuck on something, and really be aware about what's going on around.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Um, and the other wrap-up question I ask is the scenarios we've caught a listener's attention. They're saying, yeah, my patient compliance rate is not where I want it to be. And Sylvain's caught my attention, but I just don't know where to start. Are there one or two super simple things you could recommend they do just to get off the starting line and get down the path of working on this?
Automatic texting. When the patient is leaving,
Mm-hmm.
one day or 24 hours or 48 hours after, just send a text to say, hey, it's Mancuso Clinic.
How you feeling? Yeah.
How do you feel? Do you need any help from us? And often, because people, the life is busy, we
Mm-hmm.
can't, and people, when they leave the session, they have so many things to do then,
Mm-hmm.
but stay top of mind. Often, you send a text and say, hey, how are you and how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Can help patient to be more compliant, because they say, oh yeah, right, I went to the session 2 days ago and he told me that,
Right.
and
Right.
it's just a reminder about that. And often it's better they can have a system with a two-way text,
Mm-hmm.
then they can answer and have someone ready to answer really fast, but the front desk can make it, you can have an app on your computer
It's
and
true.
do that. I don't know. My CRM doesn't do the two-way text system. They
Okay.
just send reminder,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to push them, say you really need to improve that and have a follow-up texting.
Mm-hmm.
But they have so many things to work, they don't look at that.
Yeah.
But and I think I check with many CRM, they have the same issue,
Mm-hmm.
and just implement a text 24 hours after the session.
Yeah, there you
Can
go.
make a
That's easy.
difference.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's easy one where they're cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good advice. Interesting topic. Sylvain, thank you for coming on Practice Care and for introducing us to this because it's unlike anything I've ever heard of. So not that I have a pulse on the finger of the universe here, but it's much more thorough and really interesting. So thank you.
Thanks for inviting me. And if I can help some therapists to switch and improve their patient compliance, I will be so happy to help them.
Yeah, and on that note, you provided some contact information, which we're going to get into the show notes for this episode. So anybody who does want to contact you, now they know about you or know more about you, and they have another way to do so. So thanks very much. Couple of
Thanks for your
points.
time.
Yes, absolutely. And a couple of points before we wrap up. First, if you are a practitioner like Sylvain is, or if you are someone who seeks to serve private practices like us, either way, if you have some experience or expertise on the business side of private practice, please, we want you to come on Practice Care and tell the world about it. In the show notes for Sylvain's episode and every episode, there's a link, a couple of clicks, really quick and easy. Just tell us what's on your mind so we can get you scheduled as soon as possible. And finally, we drop a new episode every week. Please subscribe to Practice Care. That's the easiest and best way to stay up to date. Practice Care, one word, easy to find. Google us, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. We're everywhere on every player and platform. Just search for us. You'll find us. Subscribe so that way you could stay up to date. Thanks very much. And until next time.